As some of you may know, there's a trophy in Resident Evil 7 that requires you to beat the game without using the item box, but it does allow you to use it a total of 3 times. So when I was looking for a good challenge to try and I saw this, I thought to myself, can the game be beaten without using the item box even a single time? Will my tiny inventory be enough to carry everything needed to progress through the story? And can it be done on Madhouse, the game's most brutal difficulty? Well boys, let's find out. Sweet Home Louisiana is where everything began. There I was, driving down some random dirt road out in the middle of nowhere in hopes of finding my long-lost wife, Mia. She'd been missing for 3 years at this point, and the only clue I had of her was some video message she sent where she told me to stay away from her. Not allowing her to follow through with the divorce so easily, I tracked her down to some creepy mansion in the middle of the woods, swearing to myself that I would not go back home without her, even if I had to drag her back. So yeah, I made my way down an ominous path, tried my hand at the front gate, and realized it was locked, found a side path to take instead, and oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, hell no, man. I'm out of here. Fuck that. That's just terrifying. And you know what else is terrifying? Those damn browsers you're using. What you should really be using is Opera GX, the sponsor of today's video. That's right, baby. I got Opera GX installed here on my PC, and just look at how beautiful it is. Using the mod store, I was able to install this awesome Resident Evil 4 theme that comes with browser sound effects, keyboard sound effects, background music, opening and closing tab sound effects, and a dedicated wallpaper. Maybe you're not the biggest fan of Resident Evil though, in which case there's so many other mods to choose from, like God of War, Fallout, Nier Automata, Bloodborne, or if you're into anime, Attack on Titan, Death Note, and Berserk. There's endless ways to customize your browser when using Opera GX, and you can even mix and match themes as you please. But looking good isn't all Opera has going for it. Unlike other browsers, Opera gives you the ability to directly control how many resources your PC is using while you have it open. So if you want to keep a bunch of tabs open without sacrificing gaming performance, this is a great way to do it. You can limit how much CPU power the browser is using, the RAM usage, and even the bandwidth. When compared to Chrome on the system tray, it's really no contest which is the better option. And if that wasn't cool enough on its own, Opera GX also has a native generative AI integration that allows you to type in AI prompts with full access to ChatGPT and ChatSonic on the sidebar. Whether you need to summarize an article, find related content, or shorten text, this tool can come in handy while gaming. Maybe you're looking for a good Elden Ring build, or you want to know where certain collectible items are and you want it all in a neat list. For example, I asked Aria, Opera's AI chatbot, how many bobbleheads are in Resident Evil 7, and in just a few seconds, she told me that there are 20. She gave me the locations, she gave me tips for finding them, and she even told me the benefits of collecting them. I'm actually kind of blown away by how effective this was. And if you have any questions about the AI, there's an FAQ down below. And of course, switching browsers is incredibly easy to do. With Opera's quick import tool, with just a few clicks, you can import all of your settings, browsing history, bookmarks, and cookies from your old browser into Opera. And it's fully compatible with all Google Chrome extensions. So what are you guys waiting for? Install Opera GX for free right now by going down to the description or my pinned comment down below and clicking the link. It's completely free and won't mess with your old browser in any way, so there's no reason not to at least try it out. Thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Alright, so yeah, I admit, okay, the man in the woods creeped me out, but if something as small as that was gonna make me abandon my wife, I never really deserved her in the first place, did I? So I headed back down the trail, praying that he wasn't waiting for me around the corner, and came across a handbag in a burning pile of trash. Upon inspecting it, I came across Mia's driver's license and a printout of an email she sent me years ago. I couldn't believe it. This meant that my information was correct all along, and Mia was most likely hiding from me somewhere in this house. Of course, though, I didn't really have room for my wife's belongings, so I had no choice but to rip them up and throw them away. Don't worry, I assure you, nothing of value was lost here. It was just a woman's driver's license. When I headed into the house, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was absolutely disgusting in there. It was all run down, there was mold and mildew everywhere, and there was even a dead crow in the microwave. Oh! Yeah, that's real nice. With every minute that passed by, my strong resolve to find my wife grew weaker and weaker. I mean, it was kind of scary in here. I decided that if I didn't find Mia in the next 30 seconds, I'd call this little suicide mission quits and go remarry. It was unfortunate then that I came across a secret room that led down into a secret basement, which in turn led to my sleeping wife locked up in a jail cell. This wasn't an unfamiliar sight to me, of course, but it did raise an important question. Who locked her up? Was it that man I saw on the outside? I didn't know. Either way, it was time to set my wife free. I picked up some bolt cutters on a nearby table, cut the chain on the door, and woke her up. Mia was dazed and confused, pale and emaciated. She had no idea where she was, and she was talking like a crazy person. It was kind of sad, really, and kind of creepy. But there was no time to feel pity for my wife. It was time to go. I told Mia that I was there to save her and that we had to hurry on back home. Mia agreed with me, grabbed my arm, and told me she knew of a way out. Well, that was convenient. As we made our way through that disorienting maze of a basement, I couldn't help but feel like I'd walked into a trap of some kind. This woman, who had threatened to divorce me on many occasions, who had run away from home in an attempt to finally be rid of me, was acting oddly nice to me right now. She even complimented my slick outfit. Something here was off. My suspicions were confirmed when Mia suddenly turned into a fucking demon and started beating on me with her superhuman strength. I couldn't believe what was happening. My sweet baby angel, who'd sworn an oath to stand by my side through sickness and health, was trying to stab me to death with a kitchen knife. She told me that she wasn't going back to the cage, that she was divorcing me, and that there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it. She was going berserk, man. Then randomly, she stopped and started apologizing, then smashed her head on the wall over and over again until she passed out. Jesus Christ, man, I married a complete psychopath. Well, it was nice knowing you, Mia, but I think we're better off separated. Oh shit, oh, please don't hurt me, please don't, Oh, it was on, buddy. I wasn't just gonna let this woman toss me around like that. I had my pride and honor as a man to uphold. So, I grabbed an axe that was conveniently placed right in front of me, punched my wife in the face multiple times, and plunged that blade deep into her shoulder. Honey, I think we should see other people. Before I was able to leave the mansion though, that guy from the woods attacked me from out of nowhere and knocked me out cold. A few hours later, I woke up to a dinner party, and I usually don't like to judge people, but it was obvious I was dealing with a bunch of crazy meth addicts. Was that why Mia was so combative? That would make sense. I told these people I didn't intermingle with crackheads. Big Daddy got super offended, abused his wife, cut off his son's arm, and threatened to cut off my little ween. Thankfully, the phone went off before he could go through with it, and a few moments later, I was all alone with the old hag. Breaking out of my restraints was easy enough on its own, and once I was free, I thought about breaking a beer bottle over her head, but because she was probably incapable of hurting me, I decided against it. Now, it was time to strategize. You see, I'd never played the Madhouse difficulty before, and I was coming into it with a massive nerf. 12 inventory slots was all I had, and I had to make each one count. I couldn't just go around all willy-nilly, picking up any object I came across. No. That would be the fastest path to failing. So I took stock of everything that was around me before heading out into the hallway. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get more than a few feet before Big Daddy showed up to ruin my day.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
Oh God! I ran and hid. It was all I could do. And thankfully, after some time passed, I was able to slip by him before he could find me. I ran down the hallway, grabbed the hatch key on the table, and peeked around the— Oh God, somebody help, he's trying to take my manhood! Oh, Jesus Christ! I tanked that hit like a champ, bounced out of there, and just barely made it to the hatch in time. Hopefully, there was a pair of clean underwear nearby because mine were destroyed. At the end of the hatch's path was a save room, and there was a lot of interesting items in there. The item box, some chem fluid, gunpowder, and cassette tapes. Cassette tapes were the only way I was able to save my game on Madhouse, and to save space, I only picked up one at a time. Thankfully, items never despawned, so this wouldn't ever be a problem for me. Having nowhere better to go, I explored the house a bit, being ever vigilant for Big Daddy's footsteps, and right when I thought there was no hope, a cop showed up on the other side of a window and asked me what was going on. I approached the window with my hands up, signaling to the guy that I was unarmed and cooperative, and after some sweet talking, he gave me a pocket knife.
I love you.
Take it.
It wasn't much, but hey, I'd take it over cowering like a little baby. I used my newfound weapon on a box and picked up some pistol ammo, then headed into the garage to meet my new friend. Oh God! If you're wondering what happened to him, just imagine someone punching a lasagna, then imagine that was his head. Yeah, I definitely wasn't leaving here without PTSD. It was time for my first boss fight. Because I was playing on the most brutal difficulty, I was trying my best to save as much ammo and resources as possible. So, although I had the cop's gun now, I decided it'd be best to use the car to knock Jack down. But the guy was fast. I mean, look at that. He was always on my ass. I somehow grabbed a lockpick, opened an orange toolbox, made a circle around the car, tried to grab the keys and got absolutely screwed, shot Jack a couple of times, and finally ended up grabbing the keys. I immediately hopped into the car and started up the engine, and let's just say, Big Daddy had the ride of his life. Woo! My celebration didn't last long though, because Big Poppy's hopped up on my vehicle, ripped the roof off with his bare hands, and plowed directly into a pile of steel beams. Yeah, that really didn't work out the way he thought it would, did it? He then tried to kill me after the car burst into flames, but yet again, he failed. In the next section of the house was a plethora of items to pick up. I avoided most things since, like I said, nothing ever despawned, but there were two items in particular that caught my eye: the shotgun and the scorpion key. The shotgun would be needed for obvious reasons, but the scorpion key? Why would I need that? Was it even worth it? That was when I did crazy calculations in my brain, and it was in that moment I decided the scorpion key would be the way to go, because actually, there was a much better shotgun upstairs in Grandma's room, and the only way to get it would be to unlock the scorpion key with 3 antique coins. Sure, I'd be locking myself out of getting either the assault or defense coin, but because those items barely even boosted attack and defense bonuses, and they took up inventory space, I thought it'd be safer to go with the key. Well, joke's on me, because guess what? You can't delete or discard keys, even when they've been used up on every door. So the scorpion key was a part of my inventory permanently now. That shotgun upstairs better have been worth it. I continued making my way around the house, solving puzzles, collecting supplies, defeating enemies, and just slowly doing my best to find a way out into the backyard. I died a few times and found myself confused on where to go more than once, but overall, I'd say I was doing pretty well. I had to avoid most enemies since they were super powerful and ammo was so limited, but honestly, as long as they weren't going Mach 5 like Jackie Boy, I could easily outmaneuver them. Then, I came to the basement. This place was creepy as hell, and I knew I'd be running for my life in just a few moments, but at the very least, there were plenty of supplies down there. My inventory was already getting kinda full though, so I had to be careful. I was able to open a chest with 15 enhanced handgun ammo, solve the morgue puzzle room, and just barely made it to the boiler room with my life. Thankfully, the little crawling molded were easy enough to take out with normal pistol ammo, so I didn't really have to worry about them. In the next room, Jackie showed up out of nowhere and took the last piece to the puzzle door I needed. He was talking crazy and said that he'd cut my wiener off if it was the last thing he did. I couldn't believe how determined this man was. What the hell did he have against me, huh? Was it because I called him a crackhead in front of his family? Or was it maybe because I kind of ran him over with his own car? I don't know, man. Either way, he was being a big baby about it. Since my only option was to follow Jack into that creepy room, I moved forward. And right when I thought that maybe I wouldn't have to fight the guy, he showed up behind me and kicked me to the floor below. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was screwed here. All I had was 30 enhanced pistol shots plus 10 other normal ones, and that was with me saving up all of the ammo I found since the very beginning. Even if I beat Jack, would I have enough to beat Marguerite? Or the Fat Molded? I was sweating and shaking and crying. But then, a miracle appeared before my very eyes. After just 7 shots, Jack decided he'd had enough and ripped open a cage, revealing a chainsaw for me to use. Oh, hell yeah! I scooped that baby up right away and went to town on the guy, cutting up his stupid face, blocking his crazy attacks, and even cutting up his pulsating flesh chunk when he was weakened enough. It took a while, and at one point, I thought I was gonna die, but I eventually beat him like the little coward he was. Things were looking good, except we had a problem. The chainsaw took up an inventory slot, and I couldn't delete it. Uh-oh. Oh, never mind then. Looks like I was stressing out for nothing. Feeling high on the fumes of victory, I headed upstairs, opened Grandma's room with the scorpion key, grabbed the broken shotgun, and headed outside. On the ground next to the stairs was the repair kit I needed for the shotgun, and after doing some more looting in the RV, I was feeling invincible. At this point, I was able to get the grenade launcher if I wanted, but I mean, look at the space I had. There just wasn't room. As sad as I was to do it, I left it behind for now. At least I got to play with this bra though, and that was pretty cool. Next up on the to-do list was the old house, and this place was a complete nightmare. Normally, you'd grab the 2 pieces of the flamethrower, combine them, then use it to burn down the bug nests, but it took up 2 inventory slots, and like keys, I couldn't actually remove weapons from my inventory. So, it was with a heavy heart that I decided my best course of action would be to sprint through the house like a maniac, praying to the Lord that I wasn't killed by the swarms of bees. This didn't work out so well. It looked like my only option was to just grab the essentials while leaving everything else behind, otherwise I'd risk being stung to death. So, I blasted open the only nest I needed to, which took a lot more ammo than it should have, by the way, crawled into that little hole in the wall, and came across Mia? Oh, hell no. Get this crazy bitch away from me. She tried apologizing about trying to stab me to death, but I had it up to here with her, man. That was simply unforgivable. Sure, I'd manhandled her a bit myself, but that was totally in self-defense. And by the way, how the hell was she even still alive? Before any of my questions could be answered, Lucas showed up and kidnapped Mia. And honestly, I didn't mind. He could have her. Anyway, I grabbed the little statuette for a puzzle, made my way to the other side of the house, and came across something absolutely beautiful. A backpack. And, oh my god, it gave me 4 new inventory slots. Are you kidding me? Yes! Guess who's grabbing the grenade launcher? This guy. Sadly, I did have to also pick up the crank and the crow key, which were both permanent additions to my inventory, but with the extra space at my disposal, I didn't really mind. I was getting by just fine. That is, until Marguerite appeared out of nowhere and pushed me into a hole. That disgusting old hag really thought she had me. but she was mistaken. All it took was a flame round and a few well-placed shots to the face for that old crone to be taken out. Now here, I thought I was safe, you know? I'd beaten Marguerite fair and square. She'd most likely shattered every single bone in her body after falling from that height, and I was locked and loaded and ready to go. But look! Oh, f that, not worth it. I'm out of here, bitch. But when I thought about it for a second, a feeling of fury welled up in my chest. Was I really gonna let that hag, that disgusting greasy wench, scare me away that easily? Hell no. I was a man, a beacon of strength, and I wasn't gonna let no... No, I'm just kidding. That geriatric freak was as good as dead. Although my inventory was looking pretty full at this point, I was confident I could do this. I pulled up to her house, did a little bit of looting to prepare for the epic battle, and got surprise attacked out of nowhere. 2 shots to the face was enough to get her to piss off, and the battle began in full swing. Now, at the time, I believed Marguerite's egg sac was her weak point, but after doing some reading online, I've been made aware that actually, her head is the weak point, and her egg sac absorbs 20% of the damage you do to it. Terrible design flaw in my opinion, but anyway, that's where I attacked her during this section. I shot her with my grenade launcher, I shredded her with my shotgun, and I blasted that freak with my handgun. But with every shot I put in her, my ammo drained 1 bullet at a time, and eventually, I only had a few shots left. I was completely out of enhanced handgun ammo, only had a single flame round left, and was clinging onto my last few shotgun shells. It looked like it was over. And then, with one final blast, the wench threw in the towel and crumbled to the floor like a poorly stacked Jenga tower. I had won, but at what cost? How would I defeat Jack's final form now? Remember, all the ammo I had for that fight had been saved up since the very beginning. I used the car on Jack to save ammo, then chainsawed him for the next fight, and after all that, I had just barely squeaked out my victory against Marguerite. Boys, I was screwed. I was able to loot the area to recoup some of my ammo, but really, a shotgun shell here, some chem fluid there. Call me greedy, but this really wasn't gonna cut it. Either way, I pushed on, praying that there'd be a miracle in the near future. In the attic of the old house, I acquired the D-Series arm, which took up yet another inventory slot. And after just barely escaping there with my life, it was time to move on to Lucas's Saw game. Apparently, the key I needed for it was in the basement, so after— Oh God!
Return back to the pits of hell, demon, from whence you came.
Oh my God, Grandma? Is that you? What the hell are you doing down here? Who left you all by yourself, huh? That's not very responsible, but at the same time, you ain't my problem. See ya. So yeah, I took out a monster, grabbed the key from the cop's rotting body, found another backpack in Grandma's room, which was a massive blessing, and after some more shenanigans here and there, I'd acquired both keycards needed to play Lucas's game. After dodging some of his poorly placed traps and having a crazed conversation with the man himself, I found myself in some underground barn. Although this place was super creepy, it didn't give me a lot of trouble. I was able to take out the 2 crawlers easily enough, and actually had a decent amount of ammo and supplies saved up by this point. I did have to fight 2 big boys near the end, but honestly, they were easier than Lucas's mother. Like, real easy. They only used up maybe 20% of my ammo. You'd think I would have been happy. But here was where everything fell apart. Lucas, that little snake, told me that he'd only let me progress if I got rid of all my stuff. There was an item box right there, taunting me, mocking me, laughing at me, and there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it. There were no skips, no glitches, no anything I could use. This was it. Challenge failed. But listen here, I didn't have to use the box. Sure, the game forced me, and having used it, you'd normally leave all the items in there, like the crank and the keys and whatnot, but you know what? I'm not gonna do that. When I get my items back, I'll only take what I had, and I'll take it all, because I want to see if it's possible to beat this without the item box, scripted or otherwise. So I played Lucas's game, passed it with flying colors, and on the other side, I picked up everything I placed into the box just a few minutes before. Along with that came the D-Series head, which added yet another permanent item to my inventory. And before going off to the final Jack fight, I went ahead and snagged the Magnum with some coins I'd saved up. At this point, my inventory was full to the brim. All I could do was pray that no other permanent items were added to it. I pushed on to the rickety old bridge leading to the boathouse, stocked up with as many supplies as I could, and finally met up with Mia and some random girl. She told me that her name was Zoe and that she could make a cure for my wife's insanity. Well, alright then, that's pretty convenient. She took both the D-Series head and arm from my inventory, which freed up 2 spaces, and she made the antidote. But before we could even use them, we were attacked. Jack crashed the party with his monstrous form and told me I wasn't getting away with my little worm still attached to my hips. Not wanting to lose my manhood, and pissed that Jack was willing to go this far, I took the fight to him and blasted him with everything I had. He was a tough opponent, and he took tons of ammo with the crazy amount of eyes on his body, but thankfully, with all the loot around the arena, I was constantly stocked up on shotgun ammo, which made finishing the guy pretty straightforward. Then, after taking out the guy's main eye, he fell over, dead. I had finally won. Or at least, I thought I did. Jackie Boy grabbed me one last time, pinning my short sword to my body like a vice grip and squeezed. It was horrifying, and in that moment, my life flashed before my eyes. It seemed I had no choice. All I could do was use the antidote on the lad, and with that, he was finally dead. Right after that, I had an important decision to make. There was only one cure left for the infection, and I could either give it to my wife or this random lady who I knew nothing about. Well, why would you give me the choice, huh? I mean, yeah, my wife's a crazy bitch, but I still kind of sorta love her, you know? You? I don't even know who you are. Though I do kind of feel bad that I chose my wiener over your life. I'm so sorry. Mia and I left that place, never to see Zoe again. And Mia had the balls to nag me about saving her life. She was trying to make me feel bad about it. Actually insane, man. This next section is pointless to go over, so I won't. But I'll let you know what happened. So I played as Mia, and her inventory was huge, so there was never any worry about going over the limit. She ended up saving me from the bottom of some big abandoned ship, and there I was, naked, cold, and alone. Naked because I didn't have a damn thing on me, meaning I'd have to use the item box yet again. Like last time, I took everything, including the keys and crank I didn't need, and pushed on, using all kinds of ammo on the enemies before me. My shotgun was an incredible weapon, and there was so much ammo laying around, I was never in fear of running out. I used the Magnum on the two big boys, made some serum in an underground lab, and found myself back in the house where I first found my wife. There was a little girl just standing there, watching me. Die! Oh, hell no. The little girl was pissed that I tried to burn her alive, and rightfully so. She attacked me up in the attic. I injected her with the serum to calm her down, and as it turns out, she was Grandma all along. And the serum I gave her melted her into a puddle of goo. Ugh! Oh, I'm definitely gonna have PTSD after this one, boys. The old lady turned into a monster. I took her out with the crazy amount of ammo I had. We flew outside. I used some random gun on her that just so happened to be laying beside me, and just like that, the nightmare was finally over. As we left that horrible place once and for all, I grabbed my wife's hand and told her that I forgave her for trying to kill me on multiple occasions. I understood now. She wasn't crazy. It was just the infection. She looked happy in that moment, and I had a feeling we were gonna be okay. So, was I able to beat Resident Evil 7 without using the item box? Sadly, no. But technically, I never needed to and had plenty of space for everything by the end, so do with that information what you will. Technically, I beat it, but objectively not, I guess. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to me, click the bell or else you pretty well aren't subscribed to me, and don't forget to download Opera GX using my links down below. Also, just so you know, I already have a Fallout 4 video 70% done, and it's coming out really well so far, and the Dying Light video will be coming out in just a few days, as well as some more Resident Evil stuff, so stay tuned for all that. Plus, I'm gonna be playing Black Myth Wukong like the first week of September, and I'm gonna try to get a video out on it as quickly as possible. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you thick boys in my next video.